Hey everyone, I'm Joseph and welcome to the very first video on this channel. Today I'm thrilled to share with you a complete tutorial on building a fully automated newsletter system that combines n8n as our powerful backend, Bolt.new for a sleek frontend, and AI tools like ChatGPT and Claude to generate HTML, email templates, and a JavaScript function. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have built this exact system from scratch, giving you a production-ready newsletter platform that you can customize for any niche. Let me show you how the finished system works. So first, we are going to head over to our Bolt frontend and then enter our details, agree, and we are going to subscribe. So this is going to check on the database if this email exists. Then if it exists, it's going to take this route, and if it does not exist, it will take this route. An email validity check will be done, and then if everything looks good, we will be added to this newsletter database. And you can see here we have already been added, and we have already been added also on this sheet, which will be used to send off the newsletter. And then on the front end, we have feedback from the webhook that everything looks good. An email has also been sent, which if we go to our email and check, here is our email, right? So, and then the next thing that we're going to test is this scraping workflow, which looks for available software engineering jobs from Glassdoor, Indeed, LinkedIn, etc., and then formats it very nicely using a JavaScript function over here. So what we are going to do is just click on this so that we have this node fire up. Now there we go, it's running the API request to get the jobs. Then after that, it's taking the descriptions from that request response and summarizing it using just send a message, a model request. That's it. Our JavaScript function has formatted it, and we have been told that we have an email. Let's check. Here we go. Yes, here we have our email, we have our name here, and here are the jobs. So the title, company, location, date posted, and the description, which has been summarized by OpenAI. The salary is here, and then when we click on apply, we are going to be taken to where this job has been listed. Perfect. So here we are. And then the last flow that we're going to test is this unsubscribe management flow. Every email that we send to our subscribers will include an unsubscribe link, and when they click on that, it's gonna open just a simple page, and when they press yes, subscribe me, this is going to say successful, and it's going to run this flow. If we check on the executions, we can see this here, and this is what happened. So they were removed from our database as recipients, right? And when we come here, we'll see that their status has been changed to unsubscribed, and they have been removed from this sheet and they've been taken to this sheet. So before we dive in, I've prepared some resources to help you succeed. We have this comprehensive documentation guide, how to set things up, links for APIs that we're going to use. Everything is included here. And then we have this prompt guide where I've helped you guys to do many of the prompting in one shot. And while I've shared the complete workflow template on my public profile, you can also find the link in the description. I strongly recommend that we build it together. If you are newer to automation, creating each component yourself will help you understand the logic behind every node and dramatically improve your n8n skills. If you find this tutorial valuable, let me know in the comments. This is just the beginning. I have a roadmap of no-code automation content planned, and I'll adjust it based on your feedback. Alright, let's get to building. Okay, so we are going to create a new workflow. I'm hoping that you already have access to your n8n account, and then we're going to start with the webhook trigger because we want to communicate with our Bolt frontend. We open Bolt. Let's go to Bolt.new and open your prompt document. You have access to it, it's in the description. Then we go to the first prompt, which is for the landing page. Copy all of it, come here, paste it, then don't press enter it, please don't, I hope you have not. We go back to n8n and copy the test URL. Then we scroll up until we get this placeholder. Replace it with that n8n webhook URL, then hit send. Perfect. Here we are. So we have our front end, and we are going to send some test data on n8n so that we can pin that and use it to build the rest of the subscription management flow. I'm just going to use my name. So I'm going to write Joseph and then use my email. Then I agree to the terms. Don't press subscribe yet. Go back to n8n. On this webhook, the default HTTP method that is set when we start a webhook trigger node is the get method. But when we are sending things from Bolt, it will build by default using the post method. So we need to change this to post, and then now listen to some test events, and then now we come back to Bolt and then we press subscribe, right? So we have here thank you, that means we have received our data, and when you come back here we have this data. So what we are going to do, we are just going to pin this, just going to click pin and then you save, then we're going back to our canvas. Okay, now we have our pin data from Bolt, right? So now the second step is just to do a check on the database if this email exists on our database, so that we don't resubscribe people, because we're going to use the email address as our ID when we are doing all checkings from the database. Let's open Sheets. Then we are going to start a blank spreadsheet. Let's name this, going to name this newsletter. Sorry for that. Newsletter system tutorial, right? Okay, then I'm going to use this. Load this up. So when somebody subscribes, we are going to add them to the all subscribers sheet, and then we're going to have a drop down where we'll categorize them as subscribed by default. And then we have now the subscribed sheet that we're going to use now to send off our newsletter. So let's get started. So the first sheet, let's rename this to all subscribers. Then let's create another sheet. Let's name this to subscribed. Then let's create the third one, and let's rename this to unsubscribed, right? On all subscribers, just gonna have the email address as the first one, because this is what we're going to use as our ID. We can't have different emails on a database. That's what's going to identify a user, a subscriber. But we can have similar names, right? So, and then the next thing, we're gonna have the name, so that we personalize those newsletters. Then we're gonna add date subscribed. So when did they subscribe? and then we are going to add if you want to manipulate drop down fields from n8n, don't write the first the title row in text and then the rest in drop down, probably. So just press the column, right click on it, and then scroll down, you'll see the drop down. Just use the entire column as a drop down field, and then now come here, and then for the title you can just add here subscription status, then we put the first one, which is subscribed, and then the other one unsubscribed. Let's use colors. This is gonna then perfect. So this is our title. Yeah, this is subscription status. We have the data date. Let's just space things to utilize our spaces here. Perfect. And then on the subscribe sheet, because this is what you're going to use to send out our newsletters, we just have the email address and the name, right? Same on this one. Perfect. Okay, now we have our sheet ready. Go back to n8n, and then I'm hoping that you have already set up your auth for Google Sheets. I'm not going to go over that. That's something that you can just follow the documentation and do it. So we're going to search for sheets here. Then we are going to get rows in a sheet, right? By saying the auth, I meant here the credential that we're going to connect this. So for example, you have not created your credential and then you create your new credential. Just click this open docs and then you just follow the simple guide there from n8n, right? And then you set up your credentials so that you can be able to connect to a sheet that's under your Gmail account, right? I've already set up mine, so we are just going to proceed. So the document, we have created it. It's the first one here. You can just find it there from list. Make sure this is from list so that you can see them and find them. Then the sheet, we are going to pull from all subscribers. We're not going to pull from subscribed, right? Just going to pull from the entire thing so that if they exist in the database, then there's no need for us to proceed and initialize the first step for them. So all subscribers, and then we are going to filter by column, and then we select the email address because that's what is unique for every subscriber. Then the value, we are going to scroll down and see what Bolt sent, and we can see the email here, right? So this is the value. It's gonna be dynamic, so each user will have the same expression, but now what's filling at the bottom is now going to be their email, right? To be used in checking the database. So after doing that, we're going to go to settings and we're going just to say always output data. If you don't use always output data, that means if they don't find that record, it's going to output nothing, and then the workflow is going to stop. So you have to make sure that it always outputs data. So if it doesn't find, it will say no rows found, right? So if we test this step, we'll see there is a response. One item, no fields, right? There are no fields. So this will allow the workflow to continue, because now we want to put an if node after this, and if that row exists, we do something else, and if it does not, we proceed. Okay, I hope we are together up to there. Now, our next node is going to be an if node, right? So that if somebody subscribes, the first step we'll do is we check if that subscriber exists in our database. And there are going to be two options, yes or no, right? So if yes, then we don't need to resubscribe him. So we just set up another route for that. And if no, we proceed to adding that subscriber, right? So how are we going to interpret if it's a yes or no? So we go back to our sheet and see how does no look like. So if it is no, it's just returning this, because we set this to always output data. So if it's no, they didn't find any row with this email, so it's just going to say no field. But now what about, yes, if they find it? We don't even know what it's going to look like, right? So we need to run that alternate scenario so that we can interpret that in the if node, right? So we are going to add that email address here, just that email address that we used, the one that you used from Bolt, so that the getting subscribers returns one row, right? So mine was joseph.tapfeed.com. That's it. Just going to do that. No, there's no need for us to add the name, just the record. And then we go back here, then we test this again. Then now, yes, it returned one item, right? So now we know this says this. So we are now going to proceed with our if node. Just write if and then click on this here. So we know in the if it has a raw number because now it found something. So we are going to say if it's gonna be a string, but now we say exists, right? If this exists, then it's a yes. Then we're going to convert types. Make sure you click this one, and then we are going to test. So it's gonna live with the true branch. If they didn't find something, it's gonna be the false. Then we need to also rename our node properly. So we are going to say if subscriber exists, right? Subscriber exists, then we're going to leave that as that. So now we have two branches. If they exist, we continue with that one, and then if they don't exist, we continue with the other one. Click on save. So if they exist, what do? We send them an email, right? Send them an email. So we are going to I'll use a custom domain email, so you can select Gmail and then you click on send a message, but I set up an custom email. I think that's the best option when you're running newsletters. You use your own domain. If you want to know how to do that, I have a free workflow documentation that I shared to the community. I'll leave the link there so that you can also set your own custom domain and set up the DMARC records properly, and then you are ready to get started. So I'm going to use that one. Can replace when you go to the template that I shared, you will just see it's the same with the Gmail. I'm gonna click here, and then I'm going to select any. Let me just select the automate send email from, just write jobs for you. If you want the email to come with a name, you will see on the documentation about how to set this up. But if you want it to come with a name, you need to put the name here. If you don't put the name and you just put the email address, it will go to the email, and the name of that email address will be n8n by default. So you need to put this one, and then you put the chevrons, then enter the email inside now. So I'm gonna use automate. Right. To email, gonna scroll down to the webhook, get the email that was sent, just drop it here, then the name, we're just going to use it sometimes later. The HTML subject, you can say you are already subscribed to jobs for you, right? Maybe you can find another subject line that makes sense for you, but right now we can just stick to this. Then the email format, we are going to personalize things a bit, right? So it's gonna be like that. So for the email format, we'll stick to HTML. We want our newsletter to be very, very, very professional. So we want things coming and they look amazing on the devices, right? You don't want to use plain text. We're not plain text people. So for HTML, we are going to just open ChatGPT or Cloud. It's just a simple inquiry. So we're going to tell ChatGPT, I am setting up a newsletter system on n8n, and I have set an if node that checks if the email exists on our database or not. If it does, we want to send an already exists email in HTML format to that user subscriber. Give me a prompt. Give me an email HTML that I can use. Then we proceed to give it some details now what we want to include in that email, right? So we're going to say the name of the newsletter is jobs for you that scraps available software engineering jobs and shares it to its subscribers every day, right? Okay, and then we need to also add the dynamics, the expressions. How are they coming to how are they being passed down as? So we're going to go back to n8n, and then we're just going to paste. We want to get the expression, how they look like, right? So the name of this is the name, right? This is the name. So put it here so that you can copy it and bring it to ChatGPT. The expression for the name is, just put it here, and for the email is, don't want to do double lock, we want ChatGPT to just do that for us. So for email, it's this one, we've already put it here, boom. We press enter. The reason why you need to talk about what your query is about in detail is because we are going to use this thread in the future, so we need to give it as much data as we can at any point. So in the next chat we add more details, so that when we proceed, we'll just be asking it, give me an HTML template, and it already knows what you're talking about because you've already fed it with data. So make sure in the first prompt that you're using, we are not going to open another thread in the future. We're just going to use this one. So give it as much email, tell it the name, if you have links, give it everything, and then it's going to be easier for you later. That's just prompt engineering basics, right? So the email HTML is here. I hope it's finished here. Boom. We are going to copy this, and then we are going to not changing anything. So just remove this one. We're just using it for fun. Not for fun, but here we are. So you can see the expression is added already. So it will be picking these expressions when it sends the already exists emails. Boom. There we are, and that's it. So we save, and then we can test. We can test this. Test it by playing by pressing the play. So now we are going to just open our email. Open my email very quickly. This is the email, it has been sent. You can see the HTML formatting is working. Hey Joseph, it looks like your email is already subscribed, no need to sign up again, blah blah blah. So now we have our scenario of if the email exists in our database, so we have that route sorted. It will send the email. Now we need to continue building if now that email does not exist in the database. How are we going to do that? The first step we're going to do is we're going to have to perform a mail validity check so that we make sure all emails that we add on our database are valid to some at least percentage. We're going to use an HTTP request, and then now after that we add another if it's valid. If it's invalid, then we also build routes for that. So we are going to click on plus, and then we're going to add an HTTP request node. Then before that, we need to make sure that this node now redirects to this route. How are we going to do that? Let's go back to our newsletter. Let's delete this. Right, let's delete that. Let's delete the row. Boom, and then let's come here and let's just run this again. Can run this first, then run this. Then it will, because now it has checked, as you can see, and the JSON row number is undefined because it does not exist. Didn't bring any row from our sheet. Let's run this again. So we are going to use a platform called mails.so to do this. The link is create your account so that you get your free API to do that. Now, when you go to this URL mails.so/dashboard/API, you will find this playground with a curl command. Make sure it's on curl. Don't go to Python or any other command. Just go to curl, and then you make sure that you copy. This curl command will include your API key inside, so there's no need for us to go now to the API keys and copy anything. Don't worry about the API key. I'll make sure that I've resetted it after this video goes public. So make sure you've copied that. Go back to your workflow, click on import curl, paste it there, and then just click import. It might take a couple of microseconds. Don't panic. I think n8n needs to work on that and make sure that the UI shows something that may be processing or loading or importing. So this is what we are going to have imported from the curl command. It will set our headers and the URL which has this email address. This is what we are going to check, right? This is what we're checking. This is how we are sending the email to mails.so to check. So this is what we are going to use, and we are going to paste our expression, our dynamic expressions. So scroll down to the first webhook which we have pinned. We have pinned the data. Delete this email, just drag this here and it will switch automatically to expression. Make sure there are no spaces after the equal sign. Then that's it. So we are going to test this and see what we are going to receive. Perfect. So here is our object with the details. The MX record exists, so that means it has checked this email and it has verified that it has a DNS which has MX records, right? So this is one of the things that we can use to add as conditions in the subsequent if node that we are going to use. And then we can see the score is 40, although we can't use the score as a foolproof condition, because even if you try anything, you'll still see that maybe it might bring 40. The only email that you can use, and I'm sure it will bring 100% score, is a Gmail address, because it's from Gmail or an Outlook, those kinds of emails. But I'm using a custom email address. I'm using just my professional email. Then when you scroll down, the reason we're doing this is we want to take note of what we are going to add as conditions. So this is a valid email. I am sure of it. I have access to it. So I'm going to see what does a valid email bring, and then now I test what does an invalid email bring, so that we now know the condition. The same thing that we did before in the first if condition. That's how you interpret the if conditions. So we can see reason, blah blah blah. Okay, so we have this MX. We know the MX record is a decent condition. Now let's test and see what an undeniable invalid email looks like, right? So we are going to delete that expression and write something like Joseph at .com, right? So I'm sure there's no way this email exists. So we're going to test the step, and then here we are. So you can see first the MX record, you can see the MX record is empty. Null means empty. Don't say it's the MX record is null. If you set a condition and say if the MX record is null, then this will happen. Null means empty. Null means empty. Null means there's nothing. So it's empty. And then when you scroll down, you see reason invalid domain. This is just the MX record missing. Result and deliverable. We didn't have this one, right? We didn't have this one in the valid. So we are going to use this too. So we are going to set a condition if it has this or this, right? So that's how we set the conditions. Alright, now we have settled on if the MX record is not empty and if the result doesn't contain a deliverable, then that's a valid email, and if it's the other case, then that's invalid, right? So we are going to add another if here so that we can route the items, and then let's just use this one because it contains all of them. So if no, not this reason, what's the result? This one, if the result does not contain undeliverable, make sure the spelling is correct, then we add the condition again, and the MX record, which is a string, is empty, just like that. No, it's not empty. If it's empty, then it's invalid. We are putting conditions for true, right? Okay, so if the is not empty, perfect. So if we test this, it's gonna fall in the fall branch because this is an invalid email. So if email is valid, let's set this name so that we understand it later. Perfect. So we have our if setup and the MX record setup. So just quickly go back here and remove this one, because this was just for testing how invalid emails look like in the output. Then we're gonna drop back this email here. Then if we run this so that we see how this looks, and then we run the if after that, let's give him a moment to now go to the true because that email is valid. We are going to first start with the all subscribers addition node. So we're just going to search for sheets, select append, make sure you select your document. Then from the list, we're going to first start with all subscribers. Column to match on, that's going to be email address. Scroll down, drag your email expression, drag your name expression, date subscribed, make sure this is on expression, and then we're just going to use the native date now from n8n. So just put the double curly braces and then select now. That's going to populate the current date and time, as you can see. And then the subscription status, we want to make them subscribe by default. When they subscribe, then we set them as subscribe until they unsubscribe through the flow that we're going to create next. So yeah, that's it. If we test the step, perfect, this should appear here. Yeah, you can see that this is set as subscribed. Now we are also going to add this user to the subscribed sheet because we already have him here. We need to also add him here, right? So that because this is the sheet we're going to use, just going to do the same thing. Just going to do the same thing. Make sure you just hover on this node, click it, and just drop it somewhere. You'll see this pop up. Boom, just select this one. Just going to append document, sheet, the second one, map each column manually, email address, let's scroll down, drop our email, and then we drop our name. Test step. Everything should work. This guy is added over here, you can see. Then we'll go back, just space it properly. The third thing we're going to do in the true route, let's send this guy an email, send him a welcome email, right? I'm using send email. You can use Gmail, just use the Gmail option if you don't have the custom email right now. It's going to work just fine. I'm going to set up my SMTP, automate, send, operation is send. Then from email, just gonna use jobs. For you, open and close the chevron, then write perfect to email. I'm gonna scroll down, drop subject line. Let's just use a fixed one. Let's say welcome to jobs for you daily, right? We send it daily. On the HTML, we are going to do the same thing as we did earlier. We're just going to go to ChatGPT, continue with our thread, and tell ChatGPT to give us an HTML to send to our welcome, to send to our subscribers as the welcome email. So let's head over to ChatGPT, the same thread, and then we're going to tell ChatGPT if we successfully subscribe a user and add them to the database, we want to send a welcome email to them. Yes, be kind, please. Provide me with the HTML for the email. Use some expressions for name and email. You see the beauty of giving ChatGPT information earlier on. You don't have to repeat a lot of things as you continue the thread, right? So I'm gonna hit enter. Okay, now let's copy this, go back to our workflow, paste it here. It's gonna switch to expression anytime it detects an expression inside. And then we are going to test. We're gonna test. Perfect. We are going to open, and here we are. Perfect. Hi Joseph, thank you for subscribing. You're now set to receive unpicked blah blah blah. Right? Let's go back here so that we finish this once and for all. Let's move this up here. Then we're going to rename this so that it does not confuse us later on. But now, if for example you leave this hanging, this ends hanging, and you want your n8n workflow to be doing all these nodes and then proceed to the next step, you need to make sure that they're not hanging, because if they're hanging, it will come here and it will do the first one and it's going to stop because there's nothing at the front, so it's gonna stop the workflow, right? So to make sure that it does not stop, the easier way is to add a merge node, and then we combine by all possible combinations. Just place it here and then just drop these things here. Perfect, and then that's it. So what will happen, it will reach here. If it's true, it will do the first one, come here and wait, come back to the second one, come here and wait, come back to the one, come here and wait, so that the merge is like a bus station where all buses have to pass through. So all buses have to come before continuing. Maybe there's a ferry for buses, right? This is now the ferry. Now the ferry cannot leave until all the buses arrive that are supposed to be there, right? So here we are. As I said, we are going to finish everything off with a response to webhook, so that we give a feedback to our user on the landing page on Bolt that this is where we are on the workflow. This is what has happened. So just click on the plus, respond to webhook, click on it here. I told you guys you're going to add for this scenario, for this false scenario. So let's add also here, respond to webhook, and then here, respond to webhook. Right, so this is how our workflow looks like, and we are done with the first workflow. We just need to finish up setting some few things, and then that's it. Now we need to say what our webhook will show the user on the front end. So let's just respond with the text, and then now this is the first respond to webhook scenario, which is on the route of if the subscriber exists. True, they exist. We send them the email that this email already exists, and then now we need to show them on the front end that we can't process it because of this. So we are going to say email exists, simple. Then we say hello. I want us to copy the expression for the name. I think the best way is for us to just look at a place where we have used the name. Okay, I think we have used it here. It's easier just to copy this so that this is an expression. Hello. The email you are trying to use is already on our database. Let's say email already exists. Right, hello Joseph, the email you're trying to use is already on our database. Right, okay, and then we come to the second respond, which is if email is valid, it's not valid, that's false. Then we say text again, it's easier to send text, and then we say email in valid. Hello, paste our expression here, make sure we switch this to expressions that you can pick it. Hello Joseph, this email is invalid. Please check again and retry. Right, perfect. And then our final scenario, which is now the very end, text again. Make sure we switch this to go. Then we're gonna say success. Hooray! Right. This you have been successfully subscribed to jobs for you daily. Good luck. Because these are guys who are looking for jobs, right? That's why they're here. Good luck. Let's add the name. Good luck, Joseph. Perfect. Then because you have sent the welcome email, let's notify them. So we have sent you a welcome email. Please, not please, if you don't see it, please check the spam folder and mark it as not spam. So we want, if it falls in the spam folder, they go and check and mark it as not spam, so that all future emails to that email will be received on the primary inbox. Then boom, we save. Now we are sure that we are set. Let's just rename now the nodes so that we understand also for our own sake, we understand what the nodes mean. So the first one, this one is get all subscribers, right? Get them. The subscriber exists, you've already named it. Send email, so you can add a bracket, email exists, so that we also respond to webhook. For these ones you can just leave them as just one, probably just leave the response just as they are. HTTP request, you can rename this to email validity check. Rename that. The if is sorted. Then the first one is add subscriber to all subscribers. It's the first sheet. Then here I can say add subscriber to subscribed. Perfect. Then for the second send email, we're gonna add the brackets and then we say email, not email but welcome email. That's it. We have the system ready. Now we need to go back to Bolt and test things out. Let's hide this. Let's clear everything. Let's unpin. I'm going to unpin this and then we're going to save. Now we're going to go back to our landing page. We are going to send, first we're going to check, we're going to test the first one, which email exists. So we're going to use the same details. Name doesn't matter, our unique ID is the email address. So you can use a different name here, but the email address is that's going to be checked. Fill.com, then I agree. Let's come here and test. Make sure you click the test workflow because we have not set it to active. Then subscribe. Now you will see this error. You'll see this error. This is an amazing moment for us to fix it. So the error says webhook node not configured correctly, right? So set the respond parameter to using respond to webhook, because previously we had not added the respond to webhook nodes, so it worked fine because it was not responding to anything. It was just running the web workflow to the end. But now we have added that and we want it to use that as the end of the workflow. So we are going to change the respond immediately to using the respond to webhook mode. Then make sure you save first. You can delete this data, set it as test again, go back to Bolt, and then now just click subscribe again, and then that's it. When you come here, we'll see that it passed, but now when you come to Bolt, it will say thank you, because it's just a generic response for a successful webhook post request, right? So we want Bolt to use this respond mode. So anything that responded from this webhook is what is going to be shown to the user, right? But we have already verified that the if subscriber exists node is working, because we already have this guy added here. We already have him on the all subscribers. We added this email. So what we are going to do, just head over to the prompt guide. Go to the second prompt, which is the prompt for handling webhooks. Copy this then come to Bolt, sorry. Paste this here. Don't press enter yet. We need to make sure that our webhooks, how we set the text as, is how they're starting here, because this is just a standard they sent for people who are going to download the workflows on n8n. So the first one, which is email exists, what does it start with? We are going to use this to help Bolt set this up for us. So we're going to tell Bolt you're going to receive 3 possible responses from the webhook. The first one is to show that the email already exists. The second one is for an invalid email, and the third one is for success. So this is what you're going to use to sort this response is for what and this is for what, right? So we tell Bolt that for the one that email already exists scenario, it will start with this, and then the other one will start with this. That way Bolt will create its own logic and help us show our user the right response. So let's start with the first one. The first one says from the prompt that I have added in the guide, email already exists. Let's quickly come here. Let's just see. Yeah, so this starts with email already exists. Then let's come to the second one, which is email is invalid. It starts with email invalid. Now let's come to Bolt. Now we need to change this to email invalid, right? And then the last one, which is now for a successful subscription, it starts with, now this one starts with hooray, right? So let's come and replace. Perfect. And then now go ahead and press send. Bolt has finished its beautiful work. Now let's do a test again with the first response to webhook. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back here, just go back, click save, then we're going to delete this, just clear this and then press again, test workflow. Let's use the same details that we used. Just a second. I agree, then boom. So we need to wait for that response here. It needs to show us that response, and here it is. So email already exists with the right color code, right? It's not a green for success. So email already exists. Hello Joseph, the email you're trying to use is already on our database, right? So now the user will know, I'm already subscribed, right? So we need to give this good UX. Okay, now let's try to now add another email. So let's come and delete this email so that we add it again. So delete that row, and then we also delete it from the subscribe sheet. Delete it here. Perfect. As I said, remove the mouse from the first row so that it does not interfere with n8n. Let's come back here, let's delete, and then we test the workflow again. Come back here. Now let's try to subscribe again. When we go back to n8n, we'll see it's checking. It has run the check. This is beautiful, right? We love the green marks, and everything is sorted. When we go back to Bolt, we can see, hooray, you have been subscribed, blah blah blah. There we are. We have it, right? We have it. Now let's try with crazy email. Let's try the crazy email. So there's no need to refresh. Let's just say Joseph, and then Joseph at .com, right? Agree. Let's come here, delete again, test the workflow. Then let's do this. So what will happen is it will run. Now the email is invalid, right? So on the front end, it shows the right color code. Email invalid. Hello Joseph, this email is invalid. Please check again and retry. So the user now knows, maybe they just misspelled something. But now this is good UX, and the user is able to see from your front end what is happening on the back end. There we go. The first part is done. So now we are going to go over to the second one, which is going to manage unsubscriptions. We need to set up a workflow to allow our subscribers to unsubscribe. Great, congratulations for getting this far. let's just add a sticky note just to organize things properly and make things look nicer. So I can just name this subscriber yes management. Perfect. I'm gonna save. Then let's start the next flow, which is going to also start with a webhook, because we are going to add that unsubscribe link when we send a newsletter to our subscriber, and they scroll to the footer of that newsletter. You want them to see an unsubscribe button. You know, this is not jail. This is a jobs newsletter, and if they have found a job already, there's no need for them to stay. The same case with whatever niche you're going to tailor this for. Somebody has to have that freedom, and that's why if your newsletter does not have an unsubscribe link, they're going to mark it as spam automatically. It's just going to be detected as spam, and it's gonna just end up on the spam folder, and that's going to hurt your deliverability. So let's just hit the plus, start our webhook. Boom. Just like last time, don't just close this and then we set this to post, right? Let's head over to Bolt. So you want to tell Bolt, create a page for us where our subscribers, when they hit the unsubscribe link, they're going to get to, and then on that page, when they hit subscribe, it's going to send that email, just an email, to this webhook, right? So go to the prompt guide and the third one now. Just copy the entire prompt, paste it on Bolt. Don't send as usual. Let's go to our webhook, copy that webhook URL, the test URL, and then let's scroll up until we see the placeholder where we need to paste our webhook. Where is it? Where is that webhook? Can you guys see it? Didn't we copy the entire? Okay, I can see it here. It's item number 5. Item number 5. 5. Yeah, it is. Okay, here it is. So this is the placeholder we need to replace with our webhook URL, and then that's it. Let it run, and then I explain a bit of what's happening here. So the unsubscribe link will take the email of that user and add it at the end of that URL. So it will be, for example, let's say it's your domain is xyz.com, so it will be xyz.com, and then it's going to be unsubscribe, the question mark, and then the email is equal to, and then we use that user's email. So that on that unsubscribe page, the email is going to be read from that URL, and then it's going to be shown at the bottom, so that when Bolt is processing that subscription and sending it, it's taking the email from that URL, which is the unique user's ID, and then sending it to that webhook that we have set as they want to process their unsubscriptions, right? So let's go back to Bolt. Yeah, it's finished. Now we can test visiting this URL by, let's just copy this. Let's just copy this first section. Wait, what's happening? Yeah, let's just copy. I don't know what's happening, but it's already finished. I wanted us to paste it here, and then we test if things are working properly. So when I click this yes, unsubscribe me, they're going to send this email, which they have taken from here. So it's reading this email from the URL, and then they are sending it to the webhook here, right? And then now we can pin this and continue building, right? That's the easiest way. So let's leave this as that, and then let's listen for test events. Boom, let's unsubscribe. Then here we are, we have this. As usual, just click this and pin it, and then happy building, right? So let's drag this here, and then let's start building our unsubscription flow. Okay, so what do we do after we receive that email from Bolt? I'm talking about now n8n, the backend. The logic is, now we need to check this email on the all subscribers sheet, right? So we're gonna get sheets. We're gonna get rows in the sheets. I'm going to start with the first sheet, which is all subscribers. Then we're going to add filter, which we're going to make sure that it's the specific row, right? We just want this specific row, which in this case does not exist because we don't have this guy here, right? We don't have this guy here. So what we're going to do is let's change the email address here to one that we know exists, which is joseph@appfi.com. Then let's visit it. Let's go back and unpin. Let's go back here and pin, and then we listen again, and then we subscribe so to get this new data. So we're going to use this one now. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, so now we have Joseph@appfi, but there's no need for us to add any filter because it's just one. Now when we test, we get that row, then we proceed. We need now to change, when we go to our newsletter, the all sheets, we see this status is subscribed, right? Subscribed, we need to change it to unsubscribed, and then we are also going to move this guy from here to here, right? So let's start with the first one, which is just changing the status, which is simple task. We're gonna update the row from that sheet. All subscribers, not the column. We're gonna mark by email address. Again, we're going to bring this guy here, delete the name, get subscribed, subscription status. This is what we're going to update. Unsubscribed, test the step. Right, so this guy has been changed to unsubscribed. Then I'm gonna move quickly because I know by now you have a sense of what's happening. Then the next thing, we need to add this guy to the unsubscribed. So we're going to have another sheet node. So it's gonna be append or update. Move into the unsubscribed. Matches to match with email. And just say it's okay. We just email address, and then their name. We are going to take their name from the Google Sheet where we pulled everything, right? So that's where we're going to get their real name, and then that's it. Gonna test. Boom. Now when we go to unsubscribed, our guy is here. Now because I've already added him here on the unsubscribed sheet, we now need to remove him from the subscribed, so we need to delete that row, right? So we're going to add another one, which is going also to be a sheet node, and then we are going to get rows, because for us to delete, we delete using row number, so we need to get which row is this user in the subscribed sheet, right? So from sheet, from which sheet? From the subscribed sheet. Then we're going to add the filter, which is going to be the email address. Drag this guy here. That's it. When we test, we know now he's in row number 2. Then now we add the delete node. It's also a sheet, right? delete rows or columns from a sheet. Delete rows of column. Document this one. Subscribed rows. You need to select rows, don't select columns. So start row number. Right, so this is the row number that we're deleting. Now we know it's row number 2, so delete this fixed, so that we change this to an expression. Right, and now when we click on test, let's make sure you don't have the mouse hovered. Nice. There we go. Success. So when you come here, the guy has been removed. Nice. Then we have finished. Then now we just need to finish this one with the send email. It's a simple send email. We just notify that user that you have been removed from our recipients newsletter database. Send email. Same thing. I'm going to move fast. I'm gonna move fast from email. Jobs for you. Open and close. Subject line, just a fixed one. Then we are going to go over to our very efficient assistant and tell it to help us with now the unsubscription email. So what we're going to say is, when a subscriber unsubscribes, what am I missing? Oh my goodness, let me just subscribes. We want to send an email notification to them. Let's draft the HTML for me. We did not tell it to leave the those webhooks, but it left them, right? And we don't have them here, so we need to tell ChatGPT to leave them out. Need to tell it to leave them out. So remove the email, and not remove, we're just going to replace, because in this one they're not coming from the same webhook, right? Remember that webhook sends only the email, right? It only sends the email. It can't send the name because it does not know the name. So we are going to go to the get sheet row and see how do those expressions look like in subsequent nodes, so that we come and tell ChatGPT to just replace. So I'm just going to drop them here so that we know them. So let me drop the first one, which is the name. Then let me just press enter and take the email address. Then let's just copy this. Let's remove them. Then replace or update the expressions to these ones respectively. It will know because they have email address and the JSON name. Yeah, you see, it's not very hard. You don't have to do a lot of things. You just have to process the logic in your head and then interpret it on n8n and be able to communicate with these AI tools so as they help you. You don't have to struggle. So here it is. Let's go back here and then now paste our HTML, which should now show properly. Let's just see. Yes, you can see we have these ones green. That means they have been properly read from the earlier nodes. That's it. We are gonna test. Then everything should work fine. It's just trying to trail back the other nodes and see things. That's why it's taking a lot of time. Now when we come to our email, we should see the email here. You have unsubscribed from jobs for you daily. Alright, so we are going to go back to Bolt just to do a final checkup, and then we deploy this one. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a terms page and a privacy page so that we can add that to the footer when you're sending the newsletters, right? We make the footer be active a little bit, plus of course the unsubscribe. So go back to the prompt guide and copy the prompt for legal pages, and just go back to Bolt and paste it. Yeah, there's nothing else you need to do here, just click press. Bolt is done. Now let's just wait and see if we have the links, and those links lead to pages. Yes, so now when we see I agree to the terms, when we click on the terms, we see there's a terms page, and then when we click on the privacy policy, we have the contact. So back to home. Now we are going to deploy this site. Just click on deploy so that we have live a live URL that we can use. Here we are. So this is our URL. When you click it, here we go. So you can visit this on any device. It's public. There is a common issue with routing, and because we have our unsubscribe endpoint as a dynamic endpoint, we need to test that on the live URL. So what we are going to do is just go back to your prompt and then just head back to the unsubscribe prompt. I want us to just copy this unsubscribe button, and then we just go to the let's go to the live. Let's just add it in front of this live domain, then press enter. You will see a page not found. Most probably you'll see a page not found because we need to tell Netlify how to route properly to this dynamic endpoints, right? So that's why I've added the fix prompt, which just going to, don't copy this top one. This is just a note for you guys. Copy this content inside here. Sorry. Yeah, copy this, and then just come and give Bolt. Boom. Our tokens are going to end very soon, but we are almost done. After this is just one prompt, so hopefully it does not spend the 9K. So after it does that fix, it's going to deploy again. It has already finished. It's a simple fix. Now, yeah, it has finished it, and it's gonna deploy it again. And then now we are going to refresh, and we are going to see that everything is now fixed and working. Yeah, you can see it didn't even take a lot of time, but we have used all our tokens. So I think the last step, it's not a hard one. We can even do it manually, but I'll see what we are going to do so that you guys are with me. So now when we come here and refresh, it should be fine. It should be fine. So now we see this, and when we come here and pin this one, then we save, and then we probably just listen on this one only. It should work perfectly, and here we are. So this is gonna take the email, which is example.com. Yeah, that's it for the unsubscribe endpoint processing. And now the next step is now, how are we going to scrape the jobs, and how are we going to format that and send that off to our subscribers. But first, I want to leave you with something to think about before we move to that step. I need you guys to account for one scenario which we have not accounted yet. Alright, congratulations once again for getting this far. Now we just have the final flow, which is now us setting up a system that's going to scrape and send that as a newsletter to these subscribers, right? So let's do this again. Let's add a sticky note to just make things look nicer. Just rename this very quickly. Alright, let's start. So for the scraping, we'll start that flow with a schedule, right? It's gonna be an automatic system. We don't have to come and check it. So it's going to start with the schedule trigger. So add another trigger, and then on a schedule, we are going to use daily, right? But for now, we are just going to trigger it manually, just going to click things around. So place it somewhere here. And then our next node is, we want to check if the subscribed sheet has anybody on it, because if it does not have anybody on it, there's no need for us to run this job, right? So we are going to check if that row has anything on it. Google Sheet, get rows from our sheet. I'm going to move more fast. Move faster. No, I'm not going to add any filter, so let's just test this. So no output, just like we did in the first one. We need to set this as always output data, right? Always output data, so that it does not stop there. So right now there's nobody on the on the subscribe sheet, because remember, we removed this guy. We removed him here and we placed him here, right? So let's set the logic for processing if there's nobody, so that, and then we now proceed to the other one. So if there's nobody, we add an if function, and then we can't know what it shows if there's somebody, right? So let's come here quickly and just copy this and just paste this here. Then let's run this again. Let's run this again. So now there must be somebody. Now we know the row number must exist, right? We have a row number. So this string is not empty, right? It's not empty. Or not even is not empty, it just exists. If it exists, then this is a yes. But click convert. Don't forget to click convert. So this is gonna take the true branch, right? Let's quickly remove this guy here so that we can see if everything is working. Just delete to now take the false branch. Now when it takes the false branch, we want it to stop, so just add the stop and error so that it stops there and waits the next day. So if somebody signs up, then that's good. Perfect. Now let's continue with our other scenario. Just going to return this guy here, and then I'm going to run this again, which will now return the true. And now we are going to get the jobs from an API on Rapid API. Just check the documentation for those links. Yeah, so create an account first and then visit that link so that you are taken to this, and then click the test endpoint, subscribe to the basic plan, come here, just make sure this is on curl, copy it, come back to search for the HTTP, import the curl. That's it. No need to do a lot of things. Sometimes you import the curl and then it breaks into chunks. That way you need to do it manually, but most of the time it works perfectly. So now we have this set up properly, and what we are going to do is just change the location. Let's just change this from Mumbai to remote, right? Just change this to remote, and then is remote, we are going to write this as true. Hours old, because you are doing this daily, let's just say 24 hours old. So we just change those ones, and then results, let's do 10 results. Let's run our HTTP request. Perfect. Here we are. We have this object jobs, which has now the details of each job. So this is the description, company URL, we have the job URL where the people will be clicking and heading over to apply. We have the company, we have the location, which is remote, so remote US, right? We have the salary. Alright, so after we get our jobs from Rapid API and we have that data here, we have it now, right? So we need to find a way to get that data out of that result object, right? That array of jobs. And we then need to format it into a very nice HTML so that we can send that off to our subscribers. Now, if we check how these descriptions are, for example, you can see this is a very long description, right? Each job has a very long description. It's not possible for us to send that. It's gonna be messy. So what we are going to do is we are going to send these descriptions over to ChatGPT so that ChatGPT can create just one sentence summaries of each of the job descriptions. And then we combine that using a merge node, because you remember why I told you merge nodes are very important, so that one route can run and then the other one has to run so that they can meet at the merge node. So we are going to split these jobs into individual items and then run them through ChatGPT, and then we aggregate them. After that, we aggregate those descriptions back into those items into a group, so that when they meet at the merge node, our JavaScript function that we're going to use to clean and get the 10 jobs, even if we have more than 10 jobs, we're just going to get 10 jobs, and then we're going to format that. So we want that JavaScript function to be able to access this data that's coming off from this HTTP request. Yeah. So let's start with the split. So we're just going to add a split out here. Then we're just going to just drag jobs. No other thing. Let's test that out. Perfect. And then what we are going to do is we are going to add an OpenAI. We're not going to use an agent. We're just going to message a model. just going to message a module, and then you can just choose a simple summarization. Is just simple, so you can just do it 3.5 turbo. Then we're going to say summarize this description into one sentence, right? And then you just put a colon and just go to description, because this is split out. You can see here split out, and then we see 20 items. So even if you just see this one, only this one job, even if you only see that one, if you drag the description here, you'll just see it says json.description. But now this is going to run for all the 20 items at once. So if we press test step, it's not going to just give us only for the first job, the summarization of the first job. It's going to run and give us for all the items. So for our case, it's 20 items, even though we'll just need 10 later, but it's going to summarize all the 20 jobs that are here. So let's run. Yeah, everything else is working, so this should work perfectly. Perfect. Yeah, you can see here these are 20 items. So this is what you are seeing here. Don't think that this is the only description. We have 20 of them. If you go to the table, you'll just scroll and see all of them here. Yeah, okay. So, and then we are going to aggregate that back so that our function is not going to struggle in getting those. Just gonna do all items into a single field, and then we're just gonna use all fields, right? All items, data, all fields. Yeah, perfect. So it's going to show just as one item, and then we have, now you can see data 0, and then data 1. So these are now, this is now an object with all the jobs. Okay, so then we are just going to drag from the split out, and then we aggregate that back, because if we aggregate from the API response, it's not going to work. So we aggregate this back. Aggregate individual fields. Just going to do this, then we do that. Then, as I said, we need them to meet at a merge node, so we merge these two sources, and then we just need to not append but combine with all possible combinations. Then so we think we can just run this, then we wait for that to come here. It will have to make the OpenAI call again, but that's okay. Spend some time looking at data transformation in n8n or any other automation tool you're using, because that's very important. A lot of times you'll be making API calls and you'll receive data that's not organized. It's organized to an extent, but not organized for you to present it as it is to where you want to present it. Yeah, you want to pick, just don't want to show the timestamps or any other chunks and bits, just what you want. So you need to be able to learn how you are going to do that. And aggregation and splitting out, it's just one of the very important nodes that we use in this. So everything has reached the merge node. I think, yeah, we have aggregate 1, aggregate 2. So the aggregate input 1 has all the summaries of the jobs, and they're organized in data 0, just the same way that we're organizing the jobs. So this summary, because it's for data 0, that means it's for the first job, because if you come here, then it's obviously going to be for this one. So this is going to be easier for us to create a function that's going to combine these two. So we are going to pick other things from the job details, but for the summaries we're going to use the ones that have been given to us by OpenAI, right? Okay, now we are going to now build I think the most important node in the whole newsletter, because even if somebody subscribes and you're not able to send to them the newsletter, then that's all for nothing. And the next node you're going to build is going to be the node for, it's going to be a JavaScript function, so it's going to be a code node. And then we are going to use ChatGPT to help us create that function, or Cloud. It's just prompting, right? So let's open a code node. Let's add it here, and then just leave it like that. And let's go to the prompt guide and pick this prompt for the second last prompt. It's the prompt for creating this function. It's going to pull 10 jobs from that list, and as you can see, we are telling ChatGPT to create a function that is first of all going to access job data, right, in aggregates from aggregated nodes on n8n, and that data is in these specific expressions, because we want to take first of all the position, the company name, we want to take the job location, the description. The description we're going to take from OpenAI, that's why it's message.content, and then summary, salary maximum. So it has to take all these details and then again format it now, right? So it will again organize it properly, not just list them, stacking them, organize it. So let's take a look here, because it will depend with which aggregate you created first when we are building this, right? So if you dragged this and created this aggregate first, this is going to be the first source. It's not going to be the first source per se, but it's going to be aggregate without the one, because it's the first aggregate. It's like if you create another split out node, it's going to be split out one, because you can't have nodes with the same name in one workflow, right? That's why this is merge one, because we already created a merge node somewhere here. Yeah, so this is merge, so this is merge one, right? So if you created this aggregate first, then this is going to be aggregate, and that's going to be very, very important in how we are going to format this prompt, because if this is aggregate for you, that means when we come here, this will be the first one, but it will write aggregate 1, okay? And then this will now write aggregate 2, because it's the second input, but it will write aggregate. So because this is the where we are taking the prompts, the summaries from OpenAI, okay? This is where we're taking the OpenAI prompts. Now, when we come here, we'll have to make sure that where we're getting OpenAI prompt, it's from the name of the aggregate. So because we are taking it from here and it's aggregate 1, then it's okay as it is here. But now if those things change, you need now to come and remove this one and then leave it as aggregate, and then change the other ones to aggregate 1 on. I hope we are okay. Yeah, and then the same case with this one, the Google Sheets 5, because our okay, when we come back to where we are getting our names, this is the name of the node. It's Google Sheets 5, okay? So we have to make sure that it's the same name as here, where we are getting the name and the email. So if, for example, you renamed this to Get Subscribers, then when you come here, you need to make sure that you name this properly, okay? You need to name this properly. Make sure that this is properly before giving it to ChatGPT, because after you do that, you will just wonder what have you done wrong, and then you become confused. So make sure that you do that here in the prompt. And then also what you're going to do is in the footer section, because we want to add some personalization on the URL that we have already deployed, we're going to come to Bolt, and then we take the main URL. Just come back to the prompt and replace the placeholders with your main URL, just like that. So everywhere where you have the main URL, just replace with your placeholder. You want to add the terms link, then our unsubscribe end hook. I hope you remember that, the one we set for allowing subscribers to unsubscribe. And then yeah, that is it. Let's just do a final check and see what we have talked about. So the job details, we are taking it from the first source, okay? Source, not the first source, the second source, because it's coming down, so it's input 2, okay? So this is input 1, the one that's coming from OpenAI, and then we have input 2. So the job details are going to take it from input 2 because we are aggregating the API results, API call results. Okay, so results from the second node is the aggregate. It's named as aggregate 1. So I think we need to make those changes here. I think I didn't notice that. I'm sure some of you are watching and so don't please make that correction. Okay, I've done that now. So the job details, we're getting it from aggregate 1, which is the second input, and then the descriptions, we're getting it from aggregate, which is the input 1, and that's like that. And that means the job description, which is this one, we're getting it from the right place, and these ones we're getting them from the right place. Copy this, open ChatGPT. I know you probably have yours already open. I closed mine accidentally, and there's no need for us to have any history for this because it's just a function and we're prompting it. So even if it's a new chat, there's no problem. You can modify this prompt to have constant styling, so that all your HTML, all emails that you send have a standard layout and design style. So you can just play around with that, so that from the first email that you send, the welcome email, the unsubscribe, the email exists, all of them have the same. So you can maybe create a standard footer and header, and then you just play around with the body, okay, the content. Yeah, so I think everything is sorted here. You just copy this function, then you come here to our workflow, and then we just remove everything, and then we do this. It should work. Please work. Please work. Okay, perfect. Save. And what we're just left with is just the send email node, and I'm just going to use my custom one, my custom domain. Boom. So from email, just like we did, jobs for you, open and close the chevron. Look at me writing there what I'm saying. It's been a long day, right? It's been a long day. But I'm glad you made it through here. Yeah, good job. Let's go back and pick up our 2 email, which we're taking from here. And then the subject line, we can say latest jobs for, right? For you. Perfect. On the HTML, you're just going to pick this. Everything is good. Let's do this. That should fire up. Let's open our email. Yeah, there we go. So we have hello Joseph, here are the latest jobs for you. You will personalize it, right? The good thing is that it's working, okay, and it's taking all the 10 jobs, okay. And when you click apply now, it's going to take you to the page, right? This is Indeed. It verifies first before showing. So from the API, we have said it can take from any site. We have LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, all of those ones. So apply now will take you anywhere where that job, where the link was supposed to take you to. And we can see the salary range here. We can see, that posted, which is 24 hours ago, right? Then we have the location, the name of the company. So yeah, here we are. If you want, from the API call, you can just look at what other details you want to include, maybe the logo or anything. You just have to play around with the prompt and say, I also want to take this one. Okay, then at the bottom, I'm certain we'll see an unsubscribe link, and then when you click on this one, it will take us here. And then if, let's say for example, you come here and let's just listen for events, because for the webbook we have to listen for an event first, and then we come back here and say unsubscribe, then this is gonna send that here, and then right, so if it's active, then it's going to process automatically, right? I hope you're happy that you have built this from scratch. If something didn't work somewhere, I have provided you with the link to the workflow, which is available for free on n8n in my profile, and just download it and copy it on another workflow and see where you are going wrong, where I didn't guide you well. Right? Obviously, you are a very good student. Now, to finalize, just because we now are going to put this on active so that it runs on its own, okay? So what we are going to do, we are going to go back on Bolt. Remember, I used all my tokens, and I don't want you guys to think that I subscribed and then finished on with another route. I need us to finish together, okay? It's always good to finish together. Okay, so the last prompt, now I need you to update the webbook URLs for both subscription and unsubscription to production. Please do this by removing the hyphen test part from the current URLs, right? Because now when we come back to our webbooks, you see the test URL always has this webbook hyphen test, and then the production, and they just remove the hyphen test, okay? So you don't even need to switch. Just by setting it on production, when you put it as active, then it's going to just automatically work. But if you put it on active without making sure that where you are placing this webbook, it still has the test, it's not going to work. So we are going to do this manually. It's just a webbook, right? We can just go to the code, and then we can just search for, let's just search for webbook, and then we'll just find these two results. We are going to remove manually, just delete the hyphen test, and then come to the other one also and remove this test, and that's it. You just have to deploy it again. Deploying, don't need to use tokens for deploying, right? Then we come back to our workflow, put it on active, make sure that the schedule is how you want it to be. If you want to send it weekly, then that's fine. If you want to send twice a day, then just modify the schedule interval, the trigger interval. Otherwise, this is good to go, and you just activate this one and get the hell out of here, okay? This should deploy, and it deploys to the same URL, so you don't have to worry, okay? It just deploys to the same Netlify URL. So when you come here and we refresh, then there's no need for us to come and play listen for test events now. You can just come and say Joseph at appfee.com. I agree. So this is now set to run on its own, okay? Yeah, email exists, so it's running on the background, and that way it can process multiple emails. So if there's, let's say, 10 people doing this at this exact moment, they are going to have different workflows running. Yeah, it's not going to be one after another one, okay? So Joseph is going to be processed on his email is going to be processed, and then the other one, you get my point. Wow, I'm tired, but thank you for once again for staying to the end. Let me know if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, and I'll try to bring out more content. I have my roadmap, and I'd love to hear what you guys maybe think that I should also add on it, and then I'll adjust it, of course. And I need to also hear how you guys are going to solve the issue I told you to figure out, the one that if I'm a subscriber and then I unsubscribe and then I come back again and my name and email is already on the database, but I try to subscribe again, I'm going to be told, I'm subscribed but I'm not going to receive email. So how are we going to fix that? It's a simple fix, and I'm sure you're very good students and you're going to do that well. Just let me know in the comments if you succeed. Otherwise, have a very good day. Bye.